see what's happening here. This is going to be about the SoundTrack. Let me show you some stuff that I did. Made 12 tracks already. So I'm going to show some of the Fruity Loop stuff, I think. Fruit Loops FL Studio. Let's just jump in. Show you some of the composition, or the way that I went about it. I'm going to start by showing one of the songs here. This is called Invisible. Don't know why, because it's cool. I usually start with a melody. In this case, I started with the closed grand piano. It's like just a tune, and then I have usually notes accompanying whatever I'm trying to do. These will sort of be the bass chords, so A, G, D, F. So there'll be, wherever there's a long sustain for the strings or the violins or whatever, then they'll have to conform or stay more or less in those. These would be, I guess, major chords. They could be minor. I'm not that clued up in all of that stuff. I just go by ear, right? Because that's how I roll. And then these ones at the bottom, I'll show in a second here why I scribbled that down. So I start with a little tune on the piano. I'm not using a MIDI keyboard. I'm just using my normal keyboard. I'm just using the normal like PC keyboard, and then I try and get something that I like, and then I sort of roll with it. I don't record. I actually put the notes down and drag them out here as long as I need them. I try and get the tempo right from the beginning. So for this song it was a bit easier, because some of the other ones I go a little off beat. Actually, not some of them. I think it's just one or two. So let's just focus on this one for a second. So I start with the melody, and there's a bit of a progression. I'm trying to tell a story, right? And that's the end of that melody. And then I start layering in other instruments. As these instruments here, I'll talk about obviously some more instruments. These just come standard with FL Studio. I bought and paid for the fruity version, so I'm using that. Let's see. So if we look at some of the other patterns here, this is obviously the playlist. So as these things are playing here in the playlist, then the other instruments will start kicking in, the other patterns. So let's look at something that's a little bit more interesting. The piano 2 pattern that you see here, if you just play this on its own, it's not going to sound very interesting. It just sounds like there's random notes. And you can see they're a little offbeat, looking at the black marker here for the bar. And it doesn't really sound like it works, but when you combine that with the first pattern, it actually works. And the reason is, I usually play the melody and have it repeat a little bit, and then start layering in some more instruments. So if we just go here and just mute these guys out, you'll see the effect is, so now you hear that there's so it's like sort of almost doing a little bit of a build-up. Let's look at the next one here. This is piano 3, right? Another pattern here. It's just keeping one note the whole time, and you can hear that note. It's a G. So G works in this AGDF arrangement pretty well. It doesn't sound false or off. And now if you combine that with these guys, so it's that soft G, pretty high, and I don't know why it's stuttering. I hope it's not stuttering in the video. And then I start layering in more instruments or more patterns. So piano bass 1 gets a little bit more interesting. It's just more of sustained, and it introduces string solo. So let's see, is this not even, it's a really deep, low A. So A, G, D, A, G, D, F, A, G, D, F, that's the bass chords, right? So that's what's happening there. So that obviously layer in while I'm listening to these guys up top here. So if we play this arrangement, then you'll get that sort of thing. And then the string low, let's take a look at this guy. What does he sound like? So here I'm playing some extra notes that go along. So in this scenario, in this arrangement, rather, this chord arrangement, A and E go together pretty well. B and G, there's a nice full G, B, and D going together, and so G is now sustained. Sorry, B is now sustained for two. You know, I call these bars between the black and the black because it makes sense to me. It might not be musically correct what a bar actually is, and I don't think it is, but it's fine. It's for me. Makes sense. Okay, so these are then layered in. So now we combine that with what we have here, string lows, this guy here, and then we get the, here the pattern repeats again. Right? Getting a little bit of stutter. I hope it's not going to be like this in the video. And then looking at string mid, this is sort of the formula I used for this song. So, excuse me, I decided the piano must tell the story, the melody tells the story, and then the other instruments just sort of accompany it, you know, going along with the journey and adding more to it. So here we go, and now I'm choosing E, D, F, C, E, D, F, C. So you can see E goes with A, D with G, F with D, and sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. So E goes with A, D with G, F with D, and then F and C. So those are sort of more just chord arrangements that work well in this configuration here. And I call it a configuration because that's really what it is. I'm trying to find notes that convey what I'm trying to express here, right? What story am I trying to tell? So that's the string mid. Now if you combine that pattern with the previous stuff that you get a more rich sound for me. Obviously this is very, very opinionated. And then we break into a little bit of a different section. So the string lows, you can, if you just look here where my mouse cursor is, you'll see it does a little bit of a build up and then it starts going down again. So it builds up tension and then it starts releasing here. In the release, I break off from the string mid and I introduce a new piano. But this piano is too, if you just listen to it on its own, it's nothing. It's just a couple of notes. It just sort of doesn't work if you play it on its own. But when you combine it, so if I drop everything else that's here and just play the melody along with that piano, it kind of works. So that's how this stuff is layered in. Now if we move to the second part of the song, the track, there's a bit more, it starts like almost like it's changing tempo. It's not really changing tempo, it's just introducing more notes in the right places where it's still on beat. So if we look at piano beat 2 playing here, and if we just play this on its own, see what we get. So now we get to this part here, CAE, CAF, BGD, AFC, and then ECA, EBG, AFD, DBG, right? So that arrangement is more apparent when you look at how I constructed it. I didn't construct it from this guy. This is just supplementary, the closed grand. So in this case, the stage grand is doing providing the melody, providing the story, and the other guys are just, you know, adding to the story. So here I chose CAE, so that's what you should see here. CAE, CAF, This F is a sneaky F, a sneaky F, sneaky F, because you could still use either. For some reason, it still sounds okay. And then it's BGD, whatever, carrying on like that. So that's the bass for it. And then here you'll see this guy's just accompanying the melody there for a ride. So here I chose E and A, F and C. If you combine those, it works, right? But now, if I just have that, it doesn't sound like all that great. And here I created another pattern called Piano, beat too high, which is supposed to be piano. It's piano, what the hell, I don't even know what that is. And if you just listen to that on its own, it's playing along in that same chord arrangement, just with the notes in a little bit of a different time. And how I do that is, as the melody plays, I just fiddle on the PC keyboard until I get something that I like. I usually don't play everything at once because it's usually too much, and you get confused. Well, I get confused pretty easily. So now, where was I? Piano high, right? And then we got the solo string B2 kicking in here. So if we just listen to what we heard now. Right? Combining those, it doesn't sound horrible, like you want to, just break the stereo or something. I don't even know what that is. And then here, the solo string B2 pattern accompanies that for a low. Well, it's sustaining the chord, so just provide more richness to the sound, accompanying the melody and providing, something more to say to this story, and staying in the same chord arrangement that I've chose here. You can see the notes here. This is A, E, there, D. So A here. Here I chose E, which is interesting. So even, that's why I said this F here is a bit dodgy. It's not necessary. It doesn't have to be an F always. Okay, and then if we jump on over and let's go here, what's happening? It's still the same story. Here's the piano final high. Listening to it on its own, you'll get the idea of the final. So these were just literally layered in because I liked it. Without it, if you just listen to this without it, it sounds almost like it misses something. And if you add it in, you get a little bit more addition to the story. And then here for the final, this is just previous patterns playing out until the end. This is really the composition for this song. I want to show, hoping there wasn't something else I wanted to discuss there. There might be, who knows. The next one I want to show, let's go for this guy. Like I said, there's 12 tracks. I'm obviously not going to go through all 12 of them. I will probably be live streaming soon an entire thing from scratch, but these things are so temperamental, it might not work. You never know with these things how it's going to start and end. So let's just quickly see what do we have here. So here I wanted something a bit more racy, a bit more it's broken up into two sections again, and then there's like a build up again for the second part, and then end here. So let's just focus on the beginning part here. Well, how did I start this? Oh, I muted something here. I don't know. Oh, there's nothing in there. Let's see, what did I get here? And I have to open up the accompanying notes, notes. This is wrong. Okay, so this tells me my chords and how long I have to hold them. And then this is for the second part. The second part is broken up into two parts as well. So the first part is just this, what you see here. Come on. So this was the cello staccato, playing cello staccato. Oh yeah, cool. Almost forgot to show some of the tools, the instruments I'm using here. They're not standard part of FL Studio. So there's my SoundCloud where you can find all this stuff. Yeah, check out the merch. There's no merch. There's nothing to buy. FL Studio, there is a free version, but then you can't open projects. So I highly recommend if you're into this stuff, just buy it. It's not expensive, seriously. They deserve your support. So what I did, I wanted orchestral music for my game, and I wanted to make it myself because it's fun and I like it. So I found this Sonatina Symphonic Orchestra. There's a couple versions of it out there. I think it was recorded by University of Iowa. I could be wrong, like sorry if I'm wrong, but it has, you can see here on my pane here where my face is blocking everything, the instruments that you get. You also get different phases, or what do you call it, strums or whatever, or you know, for a brass instrument it won't be a strum because you're blowing it, but oh dear. So you have staccato, sustain. You don't have like the fancy ones, you know, tremolo. There's a whole bunch of them, marcato. But you do get pizzicato, staccato, and sustain for your first and second violins. I'm not crazy about the sustain on the first violin. It sounds really weird. I don't know what they did, but it sounds weird. And in some cases, the cello also has a second note that's unintended. Maybe it's like feedback from the recording. So but what these guys have done is, and that's really awesome, this is free, they've recorded these notes, they've provided this in an SFZ format, SFZ, whatever you want to call it. So once you've got this zip, there is a VST plugin also you can get and just drop it in your plugin folder, but then I use the Sforzando plugin, it's free, and then you just drop your instrument in here, and then it's there. So that's how I the instruments I'm using for these. Let's just move on to the song here. What was I trying to? So the instrument I'm using here was the cello. Okay, so it's just bouncing between this is an E, A, and then what are we doing? Oh, where's my other notes? E, A, and then E and F sharp, right? So that's what's happening here. So this was the melody that I did first to get something that I liked. And then I started just layering in some more instruments. So let's drop off some of these other ones here. And let's look at the horns. Piano bass. Did I really use the piano? Yeah, I don't think I did. I ended up not using it because I really don't like the sound of the piano in this recording. Let's see. So this is the horn bass, and what does it sound like? You can see it's trying to keep that. There's the E, A, and there's E, F sharp. So it's trying to keep this arrangement here. E, A, E, F sharp. And then obviously when you combine those, you get a better sound. And then here I wanted to introduce something that's a little different. So I wanted a bit more, something that's a bit more, I don't want to say epic, it's not the right word, just more forte, you know? It sounds a bit more racy. That's not the right word either, but I'll go with it for now. So let's look at the violin bass one. If I can find it, violin bass one, here we go. So this is the first violin staccato, which sounds really great. It's actually spelled STUCC here, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere I saw STU. That doesn't matter. I think the spelling is STA. And then the notes here, you can see here it's almost like it's keeping a G. So that E and G goes together really well. So just to offset that bass chord of E. So A and C go together really well here. And then E and G, so it's dropping off a little bit here and then picking up again for the last one, F sharp and B, which go together not too bad in this arrangement. And that's sort of what I was going for, that bit of a racy sound there. And then if we combine that with let's go look at the cello. Cello bass 1. Where? Cello bass 1. Cello bass 1. There we go with the E, A. So just look at the bottom notes there. You can see E and A, so it'll go, E. And then what's the last one again? F sharp. So this will sound like. And then if you combine those, you get that. With the main melody. And then I've got the horns as well here. Horn staccato. Yeah, let's see, what are they doing? And this video, I think this video is way too long. Okay, and then if you combine all of those, you get the effect I was going for. And then I'm just going to fall off the main melody and just have the supporting actors taking over when it comes back. So that's sort of what I was going for here. And then there's the second part of the song. You can see here that the cello are really taking over here. And then there's obviously these sustains. So the second part of the song is this F sharp G, G sharp G. And I just quickly want to show the cello staccato bass 2. So if you listen to this. Now, if you listen to this for 2 hours straight, then everything starts sounding the same. So it's, yeah, it was a tricky one. So if we take that guy away, he's sort of the storyteller, or setting the pace at least, and the other guys are supporting. And then I wanted the violin to take over here a bit more. So the violin melody 2 is kicking in here with a bit more substance. I think I'm gonna have to end it here, otherwise it's gonna take too long. I'll have to do a live stream about it. And then it's gonna be back to, well, sound effects for the rest of the game. And then back to finishing the actual game. Awesome. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see, I still remember. Cool, thanks for watching.